Hello, we're doing a review of some of the features in the on-center takeoff software for the LS Life Safety Tracker diagramming tools. What I'm going to do is show you some of the imaging or the visualization tools within on-center software. So what I'm going to do is here's an example of a typical life safety drawing, and I'll show you the file type. Go to by pressing bids, actually by pressing cover sheet here, we can see that the file is if we're looking at the file here, we can see that it's actually a TIFF file in this example that we'll be looking at, converted from a PDF to a TIFF. Alright, so now we're at the image. You can see here that we have, similar to Life Safety Tracker, we've got a a setup where we have the main viewer taking up the top right, or the right half of the screen. We then have a smaller thumbnail view to our left, which in on center expands and contracts based on the adjustable box size that the user can define. On the left here, this is conditions. This isn't going to be relevant to what we're looking at in today's example. All right, so one of the first things that we want to talk about is panning and zooming using this little window here. One of the nice things we can do with, I believe, one of the nice things we can do with on center is, as we zoom in and out, the box in the inside the thumbnail window will change size based on what your window is. So the black represents what you see in the right hand screen in the main view. So as I zoom in, the black box gets smaller, but I can go right over to the black box and pan. Very useful tool, very intuitive to the end user, and a very often used feature within the software, something we'd like to replicate within the diagramming tool, the tracker. So that's the first thing. So I'm just going to kind of review that one more time. So we have the thumbnail on the left, the main view on the right, and as we zoom in, the window itself is represented, or the viewing window in the main screen is represented on the thumbnail with the black box. And as we zoom in, obviously that box will get smaller, and the box will pan using the mouse. So this gives us the ability to move to any part of the screen we want with pretty nice fluidity as well as speed. As you can see here, we don't have much lag in the image at all, if any lag. No lag within the data sets that are overlaid on top, and there's very minimal load time or wait time at all. To go along that same vein of thought, the zoom itself, as you can see here, as we zoom in and as we zoom out, we have almost no lag time, something that we would like to make sure is part of the spec. I think the tools we have right now in the current beta really, for some reason, require a significant amount of time in between the zooming in and being able to view and manipulate whatever data or select any data. So as you can see here, we can zoom in very quickly, zoom out very quickly. If I'm using the pan tool here, I can pan over as fast as I want. If I use this tool here, I can zoom box as fast as I want, zoom it out. They got some other tools here, but really the real key will be to be able to zoom in, zoom out, and pan with the pan tool at a, I guess, an acceptable pace. Okay, the third thing we want to discuss is the actual entry of data, which right now is done with a click of a line tool which creates an object, and then we associate that object to an LSR. Similar in this software, what you do is you pick the tool you're going to use, and then on the left here you would actually pick the condition that you're taking off as terminology. We're not really concerned about the takeoff. We're more concerned about how the line draws and appears visually as you draw it. So I'm going to click the line tool as same as I would in the diagramming. And realistically, what we'd like to see happen is something similar to how this operates. So if this wall here that is not overlaid, for example, was a fire rated wall, I would click this one corner, and as you can see, just as if I was drawing in Microsoft Paint using the line tool, a line begins to form as I move my mouse away from the second point. Once I get to the point I'm going to, I can let go of the tool and the line is formed. That's pretty much exactly how we'd like it to operate. Additionally, we'd like to be able to edit the line as we go. So to edit the line, I would imagine that you'd be able to click the line, and as you can see, the two endpoints are seen here, and I'd have the opportunity to pan or position the line, whether I had the fine tuner or not, basically in a Cartesian XY method, or if I selected one of the endpoints, it would essentially give me full control of repositioning that endpoint. In this case, the on-center software locks it into a linear pathway, but what we'd probably like to see is it similar to when you first draw it, being able to kind of manipulate that endpoint to any position that you'd like. So really, those are the two editing concepts we want. So one would be the ability to reposition the line, and two would be able to select one of the endpoints and reposition the endpoint, basically fine-tuning the position of the overlay line so that it kind of matches or better matches the drawing that you're looking at. That concludes what we wanted to take a look at in this video. So I would say we have three major things. One would be the, in summarization, one would be the box in the top left. We'd like to see improved functionality, potentially some sort of zoom box that might appear, basically indicating your window as you go, and then the opportunity to pan that zoom box to reposition your viewing window on the right. The second would be a kind of the mechanics of the zooming, being able to have a more fluid in and out zooming where we're not spending time waiting for any sort of refresh. As you can see here, the lines don't move at all. In the current setup, the lines essentially appear to not be in, I guess, concert with the image. So as you refresh, you get delays of the overlay versus the image itself. The final thing in would be the formation of the lines. We'd like to be able to see a improved method of inputting the lines, essentially like a line tool in Microsoft Paint, or as in this software where we click our first point and drag to our second point. The line is visual. We can see it. We can see both endpoints here. We position the second point to complete the line, and then we can go back to the line at a later point and edit that position by either clicking in the middle, which would give us the ability to move it in the, like I said, in a Cartesian XY positioning, or at the endpoint, which would allow us to reposition the endpoint that we have selected. All right, thank you, and that concludes this video.